that this copious and impetuous energy in a speaker is better suited to a hawker than to someone who deals with a subject of serious importance and is also a teacher. Yet I am just as much against his words coming in a trickle as in a stream. He should not keep people's ears on the stretch any more than he should swamp them, for the other extreme of thinness and poverty means less attentiveness on the part of the listener as he becomes tired of this slowness with all its interruptions. Nonetheless, what is waited for does sink in more readily than what goes flying past. One speaks in any event of instruction as being handed on to those being taught, and something that escapes them is hardly being handed on. Language, moreover, which devotes its attention to truth ought to be plain and unadorned. This popular style has nothing to do with truth. Its object is to sway a mass audience, to carry away unpracticed ears by the force of its onslaught. It never submits itself to detailed discussion. It's just wafted away. Besides, how can a thing possibly govern others when it cannot be governed itself? And apart from all this, surely language which is directed to the healing of men's minds needs to penetrate into one. Medicines do no good unless they stop some length of time in one. There is, moreover, a great deal of futility and emptiness about this style of speaking, which has more noise about it than effectiveness. There are my terrors to be quieted, incitements to be quelled, illusions to be dispelled, extravagance to be checked, greed to be reprimanded. And which of these things can be done in a hurry? What doctor can heal patients merely in passing? One might add, too, that there is not even any pleasure to be found in such a noisy, promiscuous torrent of words. Just as with a lot of things that one would never believe possible, one finds it quite enough to have seen them once proved possible, so with these performers with words. To have heard them once is more than enough. What is there in them, after all, that anyone could want to learn or imitate? What view is one likely to take of the state of a person's mind when his speech is wild and incoherent and knows no restraint? This rapidity of utterance recalls a person running down a slope and unable to stop where he meant to, being carried on instead a lot farther than he intended, at the mercy of his body's momentum. It is out of control and unbecoming to philosophy, which should be placing her words, not throwing them around, and moving forward step by step. But surely she can move on to a higher plane now and then as well? Certainly, but it must be without prejudice to her dignity of character, and this vehement, excessive energy strips her of that. Power she should have, great power, but it should be controlled. She should be a never-failing stream, not a spate. Even in an advocate, I should be loath to allow such uncontrollable speed in delivery, all in an unruly rush. How could a judge, who is not uncommonly too inexperienced and unqualified, be expected to keep up with it? Even on the occasion when an advocate is carried away by an ungovernable passion or a desire to display his powers, he should not increase his pace and pile on the words beyond the capacity of the ear. You will be doing the right thing, therefore, if you do not go to listen to people who are more concerned about the quantity than the quality of what they say, and choose yourself, if you have to speak in the manner of Publius Vinicius. When Arcelius was asked how Vinicius spoke, he described it as being at a slow pace. Geminus Varius, in fact, remarked, "How you can call the man eloquent, I simply don't know. He can't string 3 words together." Is there any reason why, of the two, you should not choose Vinicius' style? You can expect to be interrupted by persons with as little taste as the one who, when Vinicius was jerking the words out one by one, as if he were dictating rather than speaking, exclaimed, "I call on the speaker to speak!" The pace of Quintus Haterius, a celebrated speaker of his day, is something I should have a sensible man keep well clear of. With him there was never a hesitation or a pause, only one start and only one stop. But I also think that certain styles are suitable, in greater or lesser degree, to different nationalities. In a Greek, one will tolerate this lack of discipline, while we have acquired the habit of punctuating what we say in writing as well as speech. Our own Cicero, too, from whom Roman oratory really sprang, was a steady goer. Roman discourse is more given to self-examination, appraising itself and inviting appraisal. Fabianus, who added outstanding oratory to those more important distinctions of his way of life and his learning, would discuss a subject with dispatch rather than with haste. You might describe his oratory as being not rapid but fluent. This I am ready to see in a philosopher, but I do not insist on it. His delivery is not to be halting, but I should rather have the words issued forth than flowing forth. And a further reason I have for warning you against that disease is the fact that you can only acquire it successfully if you cease to feel any sense of shame. You really need to give the skin of your face a good rub, and then not listen to yourself, for that unguarded pace will give rise to a lot of expressions of which you would otherwise be critical. You cannot, I repeat, successfully acquire it and preserve your modesty at the same time. One needs, moreover, constant daily practice for it. It requires a switch of attention, too, from subject matter to words. And even if it does transpire that the words come readily to the tongue and are capable of reading off it without any effort on your part, they will still need to be regulated. A way of speaking which is restrained, not bold, suits a wise man in the same way as an unassuming sort of walk does. The upshot, then, of what I have to say is this. I am telling you to be a slow-speaking person. Letter number 41. You are doing the finest possible thing and acting in your best interests if, as you say in your letter, you are persevering in your efforts to acquire a sound understanding. This is something it is foolish to pray for when you can win it from your own self. There is no need to raise our hands to heaven. There's no need to implore the temple warden to allow us close to the ear of some graven image, as though this increased the chances of our being heard. God is near you, is with you, is inside you. Yes, Lucilius, there resides within us a divine spirit, which guards us and watches us in the evil and the good we do. And as we treat him, so will he treat us. No man indeed is good without God. Is anyone capable of rising above fortune unless he has help from God? He it is that prompts us to noble and exalted endeavours. In each and every good man, a God, what God we are uncertain, dwells. If you have ever come on a dense wood of ancient trees that have risen to an exceptional height, shutting out all sight of the sky with one thick screen of branches upon another, the loftiness of the forest, the seclusion of the spot, your sense of wonderment at finding so deep and unbroken a gloom out of doors, will persuade you of the presence of a deity. Any cave in which the rocks have been eroded deep into the mountain resting on it, its hollowing out into a cavern of impressive extent, not produced by the labours of men but the result of processes of nature, will strike into your soul some kind of inkling of the divine. We venerate the sources of important streams. Places where a mighty river bursts suddenly from hiding are provided with altars. Hot springs are objects of worship. The darkness or unfathomable depths of pools has made their waters sacred. And if you come across a man who is never alarmed by dangers, never affected by cravings, happy in adversity, calm in the midst of storm, viewing mankind from a higher level and the gods from their own, is it not likely that a feeling would find its way into you of veneration for him? Is it not likely that you will say to yourself, here is a thing which is too great, too sublime for anyone to regard it as being in the same sort of category as that puny body it inhabits. Into that body there has descended a divine power.